Anyway, as I said, I'm going to turn off my microphone and go open a bottle of wine. So,
Right on.
Liz,
so it's not
Liz,
to have
show us
one.
your selection of vino, though.
I will show you the bottle when I do that. But for now, I'm going to mute the microphone.
But Liz, Lee is exactly right, you know, about women. So in Hawaii, we have 49.8% women, and in District 5000, we have only 44.6% women.
Oh, totally.
Actually, this couple months ago, I was on in a meeting in Ontario, and it happened to be a former district governor there was speaking, and he brought part of the subject was diversity and inclusion within Rotary and the lack of women in leadership as well as membership. It was pretty interesting. He had some statistics, which I'm sure Naomi, you have access to as well, but that might be something to share with the group.
Thanks.
I think, though, for each club, looking at diversity, looking at the environment we're in, and trying to recruit people that are representative of our whole demographic where we are as clubs is important. If I look at my club, and I'm the membership chair, we've been exactly 50-50 split of men and women for years. We've got great ethnic diversity. What we don't have is age diversity. We live in a community with a lot of younger people who commute. We tend to be, we were a breakfast club. We're looking at other options for now, but we have no members who are under their late 40s. So that's the demographic that I want to pursue for diversity.
One of the things that did attract me to my Rotary Club was the fact that they met via Zoom and they were an e-club. That meant I had an easier time committing to meetings instead of, visiting a meeting. So, I think the future of Rotary is to maybe focus on these, virtual meetings versus the traditional meetings on a regular basis.
And hybrid meetings, perhaps with when the technology permits, so that all of those who can join by Zoom from wherever they are can do that and feel very much a part of the meeting. And yet those couple old folks in the corner who have always done it that way and want to have breakfast at the same table feel welcome too, that we don't lose them along the way.
Of course, yeah. Well, that's what inclusion is all about, including everybody. Mm-hmm. And not making anybody feel excluded.
Thank you all for being here. As soon as Conrad is here, he has a little agenda for us to talk about different things, but we wanted to put this task force together to first understand what is DEI, diversity, inclusion, and equity, and understand what it is, and if we are in our clubs embracing this DEI idea. And Rotary and also other companies have DEI task force as well. And Lee tells me that at Tiffany, he has a DEI committee in his company. So
actually, it's huge. It's not just a committee; it's like a whole department of the corporate office.
Really? Is it in the HR department?
It is connected to the HR department. Our structure is so large that we have a human resources department, then we have a employee relations department, and then of course the diversity and inclusion has its own department, which of course connects to everybody. Within our diversity and inclusion programs, we have the employee resource groups, which have our focus points. We have 4 focus points, which is women, well, more than 4, women, Asian, Black people, life stages, and LGBTQ. And then overseeing them, we have the various vice presidents of the company. involved. So it is on all levels. My participation is that I'm the Tiffany Cares and Diversity Inclusion Champion for the Hawaii market, the Northwest market, and the Las Vegas market.
Oh, okay. So Conrad did kind of list out some of the categories, and I'd like to share with you, because when you think about DEI, it's not only gender, age, ethnicity, it's all different things as well. So hold on, let me show you his list. Okay.
Naomi, I think that Conrad should be coming on soon. I think he got something came up last minute for him, but I believe he should be jumping on.
Great. Okay, but this is his list, and as soon as he gets on, he can go through his agenda. But Conrad made a list of the categories and kind of explained what it is. So for gender, it's not only male, female, it's a lot of these other categories. For age, then we have race, color, ethnicity, nationality, religion, political persuasive, the disabilities, occupation, sexual orientation, veteran status, education, marital status, family status, language, and their living conditions. Okay, so these are all categories that when you think about the demographics of your community, what that might include. And so we wanted to have a really good cross-section of people here to talk about, what we need to do in our clubs and get some action steps on what needs to be done, if at any. If we all agree that we are compliant, then no problem. If we find that we're short in some areas, and maybe the clubs don't have the capacity to open, so maybe it's going to be that we need to start a new club for a different group of people. Okay, so me first.
I don't think that's, yeah.
What? Oh, by the way, Mark, we do have a young professional task force that's starting up. So they will be meeting every month as well. So we do have that extra group of young professionals. And they came up with a great list of things that they wanted to recommend. Okay, so wanted to share a real quick PowerPoint with some data. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so what is DEI? It's diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's a top priority for Rotary and for our district. And so we need to create an organization that's open, inclusive, fair, builds goodwill, benefits the communities, and we reflect the community that we're in. Okay, so we have a unique opportunity to get everybody involved, and so thank you all for being here. So inclusion is working to create experiences where people feel welcome, respected, and valued. Okay, diversity is people from backgrounds, cultures, experience, identities. Then equity is fair treatment, opportunity, and advancement for participants. Okay, so let's look at our demographics. As of today, our dashboard says that we have 1,000, over 1,000 members. This is our breakdown. So that's about 44% female. Okay, so we're still a little heavy on the male, but compared to other districts in Rotary, we are pretty good at this gender trend. Age distribution, this is only as good as the birth dates that they put into Club Runner or into the Rotary International website. And so this is the breakdown. And so you can see that we have a big 60 to 69 as a big group there, and over 70. Okay, so Mark, you're right. We do need a little bit more balance on age. Okay, so the population in Hawaii, 1.4 million. So Oahu, of course, is the heaviest, and then you have the breakdown of the different islands. Okay, then you have your gender distribution. So Hawaii is 49.8 female. We have 44.6 in District 5000, and this is the median age for Hawaii. Okay, when you look at the race composition, 37% Asian, 25% white. Okay, then the mix, 24% Native Hawaiian, 10% Black, Asian, African American, 1.85%, other races, 1%, and Native American, less than that. So that is the breakdown for Hawaii. And so the reason why I'm trying to bring this to our attention is our club should reflect the demographics of your community. And so I wanted to see where we were on our communities. Veterans was one of the categories that Conrad had. So here's the breakdown. So we have 105,000 veterans in Hawaii, mostly men, of course. Okay, so this is the different wars that they were involved with. So a lot in the Vietnam War and the Gulf War. Okay, I didn't finish the religion, but here's education. And so, oops. Okay, my education slide got cut off. But here we have the breakdown between the grades, less than 9th grade in the blue. And then when you look at 21% bachelor's degree and higher for graduation, 11%. So 27% in just high school degrees. Okay, and then let's see, is that the end? That's the end of the slideshow with some of the demographics. But what Conrad is doing is he's looking at the demographics according to the census. And we have it overlaid on the islands and where our clubs are located. And we want to see if there are pockets possibly of places that we should have clubs or clubs that should be larger, or maybe we have an opportunity to start another club. Looking at the demographics, what category we are lacking, that we're not strong in, that, you know, it's an opportunity to start a new club. And with the young professionals group, they are thinking that they want to have professional development. They want to have some different webinars, maybe a different format in their club, and maybe they can help within their club to bring up some ideas to make it fresh and inviting. But if not, then it could be that maybe we do separate webinars for young professionals. Okay, so I was wondering, do you want to talk about what you, and I think we have enough people to break out into breakout rooms. And so Benson, if you can help me with the, breakout rooms? And so if we can go into breakout rooms and kind of talk about what your feeling is on our clubs. Are we compliant with DEI? Are we short? Are there pockets of things that we need to consider or educate? Webinars. We are having a meeting in January with the presidents and the membership chairs on DEI, giving the demographics of their community to each club so they can take a look at what the demographics are, coming up with some ideas of how we can reach out and be more reflective of the demographics of the community. And if it means that we need to form a separate club or a satellite club, then that's something that could be considered as well. Okay, so
yeah. Wait,
Benson?
Yeah, Naomi, you have to co-host me, and then how many people you want in a group, or how many groups do you want?
Okay, I did co-host you, and then let's go with 8 in each. Is 8 too much?
Yeah, it should be smaller. Should be small.
Okay, 6. Like... Go with 6.
Okay, let's see. You know what? My screen isn't allowing me to do breakouts, so maybe only you can do it, because I'm looking for it. But yeah, go ahead. You can set it up. Oh, okay. Here we go. All right. Yeah. Now I got it. All right. So let's see.
So in each group, if you can take some notes and then report back to the main group in about 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
So let's see, what do we have, 24? Okay,
Okay, so the discussion is on in your clubs in our district. Are we DEI compliant, or are we not? Are there different places that we need to concentrate on? Okay.
okay, ready?
Yep.
Let's see, hang on. Okay, hang on a second, gang. We had a little technical problem there. Let's see, right there. Okay. Hang on. All right, here we go. Okay, goodbye, everybody. How long, Naomi? 15 minutes?
6 minutes.
6 minutes?
Oh.
No, how
Yeah.
much time?
6 minutes.
Oh, 6 minutes. Okay, I got it.
Is it too short? Too short?
No. Yeah. Well, we'll see. 6 minutes. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's some of these people that's slow to grab them. So let's see, room 1. Okay, yeah, Naomi, you're going to be in room 1.
No, I want to get a hold of Conrad.
Okay, so I'm just going to leave you out then.
Oh no, I'll go into room 1.
Okay.
After contact.
Yeah, let's see.
Is Mark still here?
Yeah, Mark's not moving for some reason. Let's see. Let me put Mark.
And you can move to a room from room to room.
I can move from room to room, yeah, because I'm the one that assigned them. So let me.
So we can do 2 hosts, or one has to be a co-host.
I don't know. Not really sure. Okay, Mark, hang on. We're trying to put you somewhere. Okay. And then who's this? Siege's iPhone? No. Mark, I put you in a room and you came back, so it's kind of like you were like Jason in Halloween, man. Dude, we can't.
Jason, I got bumped somehow. I was
Okay.
going to.
Hang on a second, man. I'm trying to put you into a room. Okay. Yeah, you keep bouncing back, man. You're like the Teflon man. All right, there you go. Okay, he's out of there.
Teflon man.
Yeah, well, nothing sticks. Okay, so we're good. It's only me and you. So do you want me to go into a room?
Yeah, but can you make me host? Can you make me co-host then?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think are you gonna break out room again? Are you gonna try to break out again? No? Or no, just one time?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Well, I got his voicemail. So I think it depends on what kind of discussion comes out of the breakout rooms.
Okay.
And so if it goes into detail that we need to talk about one subject a little bit more, then we can break out again.
Because
but if not, because I'm thinking that we're going to come up with a lot of different things from the breakout rooms.
okay, so you want to go, so you're thinking maybe we might go back into breakout rooms again?
Possibly,
because,
depending on what the discussion.
Okay, because the breakout room icon didn't appear until you made me the actual host. So I'm thinking that you got to be the host to have a breakout room.
Oh.
To
Okay.
be separated in the breakout. Now you can do it. I mean, it's pretty fast if you just automatically, right?
Okay.
Do it. But I can do it too. I mean, unless the only reason why you would want to be the host if you're gonna screen share anymore, or what? You gotta.
No. Unless
Okay.
they want to see a screen. So anyway, I'm going to go to. Can you make me co-host, and then I'll go to room 1.
Or I can put you in room 1. You want me to put you in room 1?
No,
Because
I can I can join room 1. You just make me co-host.
Okay, got it, got it. Here you go.
Okay. So you want to wait for Conrad? I don't know where Conrad is.
Yeah, I'll wait for Conrad. And so I have 5:51 now. So when do you want to bring him? You want to bring him back in at 6 o'clock or before that? Because you only wanted 6 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So yeah, 5:58.
5:58. Okay, I got
Yeah.
5:52 right now. All right, so I'll close the rooms in 5:58.
Okay.
And when it gets 5:56, I'll give him the 2 minutes. Hey, how come you're not leaving? Oh, you froze already. Okay, maybe you are leaving.
Um, no.
That was a short session.
I know, right?
No, it was
Yeah.
longer. Yeah, it was longer though. Naomi said 6 minutes and I gave you like 9. So,
Really?
yeah, you got two
Oh,
bonus
Take,
minutes.
takes us 3 minutes to exchange greetings for the
I-
holiday.
I know. So when
We need
Naomi
longer.
said 6 minutes, I said, hey man, it's gonna take them 6 minutes to get in there. So oh, well,
You know
yeah,
us
maybe-
too well, Benson.
yeah, maybe we could do it again. Yeah. Yeah. I think minimum breakout room is like gotta be like 15 minutes just so everybody can say hi, right? Okay, Naomi, you can
Yeah, sorry, but
Yeah.
you knew you got to talk fast. But if everybody can also add to your name the club that you're in, I think that would be help too. That would help also. But we do have people from all the different islands, so that is a good representation of the different islands and what you're feeling, what you're seeing on your island, which may be different from another island. So let's kind of share some of the discussion that went on in your breakout room. So. Shall we start with Mariko, your breakout room? What did you come up with?
Okay, I was just renaming myself. Okay. Okay. All right. So it was very interesting. A few of us thought it was kind of confusing. You know, we didn't really know what this DEI is about. And a few of us actually attended this Zone Institute 26-27 in November when there was a discussion. Actually, 3 of us were there in that DEI discussion. And, but still, it was not really very clear for a few of us. So, so I think we do need to really clarify what DEI is about. You know, it's there, but we need to really absorb it. And but then one person said that his work experience did give him the experience of be mindful about the diversity in the faculty and so on and so on. And it was interesting to hear his view about what we need to do at the club level, but also at the district level, including some Oahu-centric activities and leadership. And so it's changing, but I think it's probably this Zoom meetings is helpful to kind of improve on that that aspect. And then what Naomi has given us and showed us and gave us some toolkit for us to really think and then focus what sort of diversity we want, each club and then the district wants to focus on, for instance, Oceanic and Pacific Islanders or any other facets of the diversity. And we have to be very strategic and intentional on that point. But then I really liked what Kevin said about what the conventional approach may tend to forget is about Rotarians to be so friendly. That's really the asset that we have. And so it's very important to attract the right people into the clubs, but also the activities to be very open to anybody in the community, and doors is open, and then everybody will benefit, and Rotary has to be the champion and leader in this effort. Very long feedback.
Thanks. Okay, next person, any volunteers for your group? Sonia.
all right. We were in breakout room 2, and Lee, hang on, let me get my document in here. Lee's with the Rotary E-Club. He said that their demographics are fairly good. He said they could use younger members, gender and age group across the board. He mentioned that today he visited the Waikiki Club and noticed mostly all retirees. He's noticed that he's been seeing good ads on TV that reflect diversity in Rotary, but what he doesn't see is millennials and the Gen X. Personally, he said he dragged his feet to do Instagram, either do it or get out, doesn't see enough on social media from Rotary to capture Gen Zs. The big difference between Gen X and the millenniums and below is that Gen X looks at the longer term, what benefits are going forward, and the younger generation needs instant gratification. And that's the difference. Kathleen, AG Kathleen from One Word Clubs, said she's excited to have DEI as part of Rotary's language, but she doesn't think that we are compliant. Rotary doesn't recruit from, thinks Rotary doesn't recruit from certain groups. Jan Takeda from the Honolulu Sunrise Group said that her club is retiree heavy. A few younger people have joined, but the biggest problem she feels is getting members, and just trying to be compliant is a wonderful goal, but just trying to get members is the biggest challenge. Her club meets at 7:30 in the morning. She feels that's a difficult time for many of the younger people. Her club has many women, some military, but she feels that her club has a ways to go. And initially, when they are looking for members, they turn to their friends to recruit as new members. Christy from downtown Honolulu said that they have a really good female member ratio. And she asked Lee, how did his club get so diversified? And Lee said, speak to Randy Soriano. So, and then what I wanted to add is, I think that diversity and inclusion will come with the focus on the demographic of the age that we are looking at, because really what I feel Rotary needs to concentrate is just getting that younger demographic. And Mariko is right. When the club and Rotary is very, very friendly and very, very loving, what it does is it creates a lot of trust within a member who may be gay or transgender or whatever. And it's from that feeling of feeling loved and included and being able to do all of these wonderful projects and change other people's lives that's when I feel people start to let their hair down and their diversity comes through. That's what I think.
Thank you. Okay, who's next?
I'm sorry, I have to leave.
Janice, do you want to add anything?
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to leave. I have something else happening here with family and sorry, it's a complicated time.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Janice.
And they always, since group 2 went, we were group 3, so we could do that. Sandy Matsui was our facilitator and I was the scribe. Sandy, do you want to offer any words or shall I cover this as scribe?
Dick, you've got this, but I think you have a time limit.
Ooh, I'm in real trouble.
You got this, Dick. You'll be great.
Great group, a lot of good inputs, many of them very, very similar to the groups that we've just heard talk. We seem to do pretty well in terms of our ethnicity and our gender distribution in the statistics. There is a focus on trying to bring a younger demographic. There are some caveats too with that, but at any event, one of the things brought up by Mark Harbison was that young people may have many of the things we want, but one concern is it's very expensive. And so we need to address that, whether it's satellite clubs or other methods to ensure that folks who want to be one of us and can't are able to participate. And the indication was one of the big areas is Rotaract is way ahead because we should be grooming those Rotaractors to become our young Rotarians. Another thought is that, you can measure diversity, equity and inclusion by statistics, but you can also look at it by the idea that, is your club welcoming? Is it a place that really welcomes whoever comes in and is interested and is willing to talk with them? And there's some issues that we need to work through as we work through moving from a fully virtual situation to hybrid meetings and beyond that. For example, I've got neighbors. I've got a couple who are a gay couple who are very talented, sharp professionals interested in joining our club. The only thing they would like to do is they want to have a chance to come out and meet everybody in person. And I think we can work the schedules. But the point with these things is everybody has a different schedule. And we need to look at ways, whether they're satellite clubs, meeting virtually, staggered meeting times, other ways to make up membership that make people feel welcome to our club, no matter what their schedule is, because schedules seem as much as anything else to drive diversity. A couple of points from Sandy as we talked about it, and she reviewed it as a disclaimer that she was born and raised on the mainland. As a disclosure, so was I. but the point is, she mentioned that initially some pushback on being allowed in with issues of gender and ethnicity. And those are things we need to think about. We need to be sensitive. We're not going to change long-term ideas that some have, but we can work to change them a bit at a time so that the newest person who walks through the door and the old person who sits in the corner and says it's always been that way, both still feel a welcome part of our club. And Sandy's final words, and I think a good ones are, don't forget the baby boomers. They're retiring now. They have money. They can do much with us. So that's a group we need to, I think, court as Rotarians. Mahalo.
Thank you. And, Dick, one of the comments from the young professional group, they did say that when they went to their Rotary meeting, some of them did not feel welcome. So that is very important for us to have clubs, the atmosphere, the culture that Benson talks about, to be welcoming. And like Sonia says, share the love. Okay.
That's a great comment. Thanks.
Okay, room number 4.
That was us, number 4.
Oh, okay. We didn't do room number 1. So room number 1.
That's Ted Fagel.
Okay, Ted.
Thank you, Wynn.
You're welcome.
I'll try to highlight a few common themes. Overall, we had a common theme that we were a little weaker in our ratio of male to female membership than we realized when we really stopped and thought about it and thought about the data. So there was room for improvement there. We also had a common theme that across our clubs, we were weak in terms of younger members, and that was an area of improvement. Also, there were some times where people were not included. So I shared an anecdote from my club where before I joined the club, there was a project where some of the men told the women that they could not participate in that project. And that still holds bad memories for them and a little bit of anger and bitterness that they were not included. And of course, in hindsight, I said, well, if I was you, I would have just shown up anyway. But besides just being diverse, it's also important to feel included. So even though you may be accepted as a member, it's very important that you feel like you are listened to and that your participation is welcome and appreciated.
Thank you. Room number 5. No. Did we get everybody?
Yeah, I don't think we had a room 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had a 1 through 4.
Okay. Okay, so everybody, anything that you wanted to add to what was already said?
I just have a question. I'm not really part of the committee or whatever, but I'm just very interested in the whole subject. And so I guess my question is, Naomi, are clubs even open to focusing on a specific item or a specific issue that they might have? Or are clubs going to be like, you know what, I'm going to take anybody who's going to be a good member. I'm not concerned about how many old people I have versus young people, how many men I have versus women, as opposed to if I have somebody who wants to be a member of my club and they're a good person and they do a great job, I'm not going to tell them no, just for the sake of what the numbers look like. So I think I'm hoping that the committee has an emphasis on education about inclusion and that rather than focusing on the numbers and whether or not we fit into some kind of puka, if you will.
Okay, so inclusion, so we don't want to exclude anybody who's not a Rotarian. So remember what Holger said in his message, that we want to bring in people who are who fit the club. Okay, we've got feedback in somebody's phone. Okay, so this is a focus group just to talk about where we are, what we need to do. If we're fine, then we just continue. But if we're not fine, it is this education piece. We are going to be having a webinar in January with the presidents and the membership chairs to talk about the demographics of their communities and the demographics of their clubs, not to exclude anybody, but to see where we're missing. So we already identified young professionals, the Gen X or the Gen Z people that we're missing. So it's just an awareness of where we should be going if the club decides to go there. If the club decides, you know, the capacity is where we are, then it could be that we need to do a satellite club for people who want to have a club that has lower dues. They don't have a meal, so it's lower cost. But how can we include groups that we don't have representation now? Okay, so
the question might be, and maybe I'd throw it out to the group, is that an exclusive? If we start creating separate groups within a Rotary Club, is that creating an exclusivity in itself? Are we setting it up for, we've got the little, and I don't want to use cliques as the specific word, but is it set up so that we have all of these little entities? Anyway, maybe I ought to just shut up and listen.
No, Wynn, I think you're on an important point because I have seen recently where other parts of Rotary, they have set up a separate club for LGBT people, or they have set up a separate club for Hispanic people. And from my perspective, that's the exact opposite of inclusivity. That's setting up separate but equal, instead of looking at ourselves and saying, how are we being inclusive and how do we need to improve to be inclusive?
Great. So with Gen X and young people in particular, it's very difficult for them to fit into a Rotary Club that has dues. Many of them expect that service should be free. Anyway, I shouldn't have to pay to be of service. And any kind of fee is going to be a challenge or to be much for them. So maybe we look at setting up Rotary Clubs that meet their needs as opposed to trying to fit them into clubs that already exist, and be okay with the thought that maybe eventually a club that existed in a certain form or fashion goes away because that form or fashion no longer meets the needs of of our people.
You know,
And then, anyway,
well, I got to offer my 2 cents. I think both Wynn and Ted had comments that I applaud. I mean, I think that we will measure, and some of that measurement obviously occurs in the rear view mirror by looking at how we have done in our recruitment. But I think the answer is that we look for talented people and we try to find out how they can support Rotary and Rotary can work for them, rather than trying to fit them into necessarily a club that may not particularly meet their needs. So I think we need some flexibility. And I think we all need as clubs, when someone comes to us, to try to help them find the right situation where they can feel a part of Rotary, contribute usefully, and be rewarded in so doing. So, and I think that will be our measure of merit. And I think if we do that in the long haul, we're going to find out that the statistics make us look pretty good. So.
But exactly, we're looking at flexibility, innovation, and how we can be flexible and innovative and not exclude. So, you know, having this group of young professionals, and it would be that it's open to anybody, not exclusive. So we do have 2 hands up in the participants. So Jackie and then Lee. Jackie?
Unmute myself there. Okay, a couple of things I was thinking about when you were talking about millennials and they're more into instant gratification than those of us who are Gen Xers, and then the baby boomers were. Another thing that millennials really, correct me if I'm wrong, don't seem to understand is, you know, we're Rotarians, we have like we pay dues, but we tend to pay them annually, or there's the ability to break it in half. Do we have it? Because one thing every millennial is used to is the $24 a month that comes out of their account for Netflix, and the $18 that comes out for Apple iTunes and Spotify and whatever other little thing that they're in. Do we have a system like that for Rotary where it's a direct thing and it comes out in small increments monthly?
Yes, we do.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
some clubs, some clubs do.
Club. They do it monthly.
Okay,
So it's
because
up to your club on how to be innovative and flexible.
Yeah.
okay. My club doesn't, but that's something that I think that I'm going to try to make happen during my presidency, because the dues are a big issue. Even with people, like when I go out into the community and I invite people to meetings, I look for stakeholders, you know, and, you know, people who have, you know, a stake in the community, obviously. So I've approached a couple of business owners, and that was kind of their thing. Even though, like, I know these people, I know that they've got more than $300 in their account right now, and they could write a check for their, you know, annual dues. But when I present it to them that way, they kind of put the brakes on. But if I was able to set up an automatic payment plan, and it was just small increments and it was monthly, I might be able to finally nab these people and get them.
Yeah, Jackie, you are totally correct on that. With the millennials and the Generation Zs, they would spend, you know, $400 on a stupid T-shirt without even thinking about it. But something like a membership or a subscription, they're all about like the Netflix, you know, $15, $20 a month. That is how they think. And that's how they put value on things. And I used to always want to pay can I pay a year? Can I pay more? Can I just get it out of the way? And even my thinking now has started changing. I started thinking month to month. And I hate that because I rather get it out of the way. But I think this is a trend. More and more people are looking at month to month, yet they're willing to spend on that Louis Vuitton some god-awful amount of money and not even blink about it. So, Jackie, I totally hear you on that. And I think I lost a potential member because of that, that you know, paying 6 months at a time type of thing.
I do want to say one last thing, and then I'll be absolutely quiet, is that I'm very excited that we have just accepted the Rotary, or the president of the Rotaract Club of University of Hawaii as a member into the Rotary Club of Honolulu Sunset. So we have the Rotaract Club president as member of our club as well. So dual membership, first time for us. So we're excited.
Congratulations.
So being innovative is looking at due structures or not. So it's what's the value, because you know, Lee, you're talking about $400 for t-shirts because they wanted that. That was value to them. So what is the value that they're getting out of Rotary? Are they getting something that's worth that $400 or whatever the fees are? But the Honolulu Sunrise Club has a Zoom membership, and it's 50% less because they're only Zooming in. And so that was something that was innovative. But it's up to your club to decide. You know, kind of, well, I want to discount the dues and you're giving value, then they would be willing to pay it. Or maybe they're willing to join a different club. But let's get Rotarians that fit your club, because each of you have a different kind of club, a different culture. Okay, so Conrad was going to talk about fees and some other things. Conrad? Want to take it from here?
Thanks, Naomi. Sorry, I was running late. What I wanted to talk about is how, or the formation of this task force and whatnot. And the way that we could think about it is using the golden circle. And if you guys all remember Simon Sinek talking about the golden circle, it's actually talking about, you know, the why, the how, and what. And so if we were to look at, you know, defining the District 5000 DEI Task Force, and we apply the why, how, and what, we could really say that the why is really about promoting an environment of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then the how is that it is to lead, guide, and inform clubs and members about the importance of DEI. And then the what, obviously, is this task force and the various tools that will be available to us to create engagement. And so what this all basically means is that while a lot of the things that you guys are talking about are really, really great topics, it's just surface, right? Because the reality of it is that the top priority of Rotary is growing and diversifying our membership to make sure that we reflect the communities we serve. And that's the part that sometimes is missing, right? Is where are we growing membership by making sure that we reflect the communities that we serve. And it's not just about, you know, old versus young, man versus woman, you know, things like that. It's also things like, what do you call it? The hourly worker versus the salary worker versus the sole proprietor versus the retired, right? And stuff like that. And so it's all about those kinds of things, as well as, you know, just basically lifestyle, right? Is it local versus non-local, newcomer versus expatriate, snowbirds, things like that, or even disability, right? Because diversity is also including people with physical disabilities, visual disabilities, hearing disabilities, and learning disabilities. And so what that means is, as to Wynn's point, it's not about a quota, about making sure that you have one person that fits these categories. It's how do you operate your club so that these people feel included, right? So an example, which is far-fetched, was I mentioned to Naomi, was, you know, if your club is only doing service projects on a Saturday morning, and that's all you do, are you excluding people that are weekend workers that, you know, because of their jobs or their lifestyle, their family situation, and they can't participate and engage with you because you only do Saturday morning service projects, then that's whether or not you are creating a diversified, equitable, inclusive type of club. So what I've heard so far is really great in the sense that we're starting with the basic stuff like the race and the age and things like that. But we got to get it to the next level and think about it from the perspective of how is it reflecting in the communities, whether it be the people that come to the clubs or how we are portrayed out in the communities. So as Naomi pointed out, we'll have something in, well, what date was that, Naomi? You said March, right?
January 23rd.
I'm sorry, January. So come January, I think the first step is really about educating, right? And so really having people understand what's the definition by Rotary for diversity, which is basically welcoming people of all backgrounds, culture, experiences, and identities. So it's not just about, age or sex and things like that. It's about the experiences, the identities, and the backgrounds that's also included when you talk about diversity. Then the definition of equity is basically the fair treatment, opportunity, and advancement of all Rotary participants, right? So it's not only about the club. I think somebody mentioned about how we pay dues. So if your club has always had a legacy of collecting dues on a biannual basis, are you creating a fair treatment, opportunity, and investment for everyone in your club if they are not the kind of person that can, one crack, dish out that kind of money and stuff. So it's how do you create things in your club that will be perceived as equity. And then, of course, the definition of inclusion is creating experiences where all people feel welcome, respected, and valued, right? So what we do so that people feel like, okay, yeah, I feel like I'm part of it, even though I can't do X, Y, Z. Another extreme example is like, let's say if the club is always singing local songs and whatnot, but then you've got a bunch of people who just moved to the islands. Are you making that experience inclusive for them and stuff like that? So that's the kind of conversation and discussions that we want to help our clubs start to have, so that the discussion about DEI is more than just the surface stuff that we always think about. So, any questions so far of what I just said?
Well, Kelly has his hand up.
Yes, Kelly.
Well, I will time, but I think you finally got us to where the conversation needed to be, Conrad, which is this isn't about box checking. It's about we frame, the way we recruit, having a different set of questions, how we carry this through everything it is that we do. The idea of monthly prorated dues is just a brilliant one to me, because I think it not only appeals because it fits a psychological profile that we're targeting, it's just more fun. The convenience of the one-time pay aside, I like the thing we had, the caveat, of course, the subscription model. We just want to make sure people keep re-upping their dues and still feel that value and connection. But all of this sort of moves conversation forward to simply looking at at pie charts of mirroring representation, but foregrounding kind of priorities and those principles, and building the tool sets out to help us be successful at a club, at a district, and with Rotary International writ large. So thank you for putting that
Oops, you're muted, Kelly.
Cap on things, Conrad. Oh, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay. And Lee, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to say, the idea of making sure that we're as diverse and inclusive across the board is fantastic. But I think you should look at it from, let's say, a big picture. Instead of focusing on individual clubs, how is the district overall performing? Because here in Honolulu, you have so many clubs, and it kind of makes sense that, oh, you might have a club that meets at early in the morning that's mostly retirees, and maybe you have a club that's a lunch club that's mostly business people. There's a club, it seems like, for everybody out there. And as long as there's a club for everybody out there, then I think you're sort of well-rounded. Areas like someplace like, let's say, Outer Island, that might only have 1 or 2 clubs. I think those clubs, it's very important for them to be as diverse and inclusive as possible because of the limited number of clubs. So the whole idea, I think, really needs to be looked at the district as a whole versus focusing on the individual clubs, as long as there's options.
Thanks. And yes, we need to do it both ways, district as a whole and also from the club level. And each of you can make a difference in your own club. Conrad, back to you.
No, I mean, like I said, I think just framing it properly so that it's a bigger discussion is something that I think the task force would need to be involved in. And then, you know, I talked about the creating the tools. So it's really, you know, how can we put together something that is easy for clubs to use, and it may be something as simple as you know, something as simple like using the 4-way test kind of thing, adding questions that, you know, would help the club make sure that DEI is top of mind when they're either implementing a club policy or creating service projects and experiences, social experiences for the club. Just making sure that, you know, you go to those pillars and then make sure that that's being addressed in the thing and whatnot. So it has not been built, and I believe that the task force would be a great starting point where we can help lead, guide, and inform our clubs on the importance of DEI. So it's not about telling them what they need to do and whether or not they're missing a certain segment or anything like that. It's really just more about what is it that we can do, whether it be to start conversations with them or creating tools that will help them start that conversation. So, you know, I think the starting point for me is to, at this January meeting, is to present, you know, Rotary International's information on DEI, and then, you know, get people to start having that conversation, and then letting people know that a task force has been formed. And really, I think it's really up to you guys. If you are feeling that you guys want to be part of this task force and create something so that it could help our clubs, I think that's what we need to do and figure out, okay, is this a task force that meets on a monthly basis? Is it a biweekly? What's the framework? And then let's make sure that we can start creating goals around what is it that we want to have. Is it making sure that, you know, we are educated and are aligned in our understanding of DEI, and then go out there and work with the clubs? Or is it really create the tools, the education pieces, and then make sure that every club has access to this information. So I'd like to open the floor and see what you guys feel is the right approach for this task force. In other words, defining what is it the task force is going to do, and what is it that the task force, and how is it the task force is going to go about doing it, right? You know, meeting versus the creation of tools and so forth. I see Kathleen's hand up, so please, Kathleen, you have the floor.
Well, I want to start out by just saying thank you to you and Naomi for convening this group and for offering the education from RI. I think that a good step is exactly what you said in January, to provide the education, and then for us to have the tools to spread out to the clubs. I don't think Rotary, to be frank, is known for DEI. I think we're known for a lot of wonderful, wonderful things, and that's why we're here. But I just don't think that's one of the things we're known for. And I think to just simply bring the awareness up and to enhance our engagement skills will be a great thing. I mean, this is actually a leadership quality, to be able to think about how to engage and focus on diversity and including people. Including people is a skill that we can help build and strengthen. And so it ties into all kinds of all the avenues of service, you know, with membership. And so I just want to commend you for, this is a huge step. And then even just sharing the information and getting the data of what do our clubs look like, and sharing that data is big. And so I think that's great, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it. So thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen. Anyone else have any comments? I do see a lot of people putting in the chat that they want to be part of this task force. So that is very positive, welcoming news and whatnot. Liz, did you have your hand up?
I did, and I just wanted to say something. I think the education part of it is really important, and I definitely want to be a part of that. But a year or two ago, in one of my club meetings, when somebody had a Rotary moment about Rotary's core values, where they talk about service and professionalism, ethics, and diversity, somebody raised their hand, a member of our club, and said, "I don't believe diversity is a value." Not just that it's not a value I support, it is not a value, period. We have a lot of work to do to overcome that attitude among some of the older Rotarians who don't even think that it's appropriate to consider having a more diverse membership, but and being more inclusive. But I want to be a part of trying to educate people and to help folks understand that it is not only a value, it's one that Rotary shares. So that's all. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Liz. And yes, we welcome you to this task force. And you know, the concept of DEI obviously is not new. However, it's been relevant and making news across the world and stuff like that. And so it's an opportunity to re-educate ourselves, as well as how do we apply it in a way that everyone can embrace it? Because while I would disagree with people who say that it is not a value, I can certainly understand why someone may say that it is not a value and stuff like that. Just like somebody may not necessarily say that family is a value, even though they have family and stuff like that. So it's embracing the understanding of and the differences of opinions of people. And that's part of making sure that we create a very diverse, inclusive, equity type of environment.
Conrad, I've got one quick comment, and I offered a post on that. I think diversity is a value, but I also think that diversity is something we can measure. And I think diversity is in some measure as an imperative of how we do as Rotarians. is a measure of how we do well at equity and inclusiveness. If we have an equitable, welcoming environment and an inclusive environment, and we really look for those who bring us diversity, I think diversity is going to be a result of that, and we're going to feel pretty good about what we've done. So I'll be happy to help any way I can. Mahalo.
Awesome. Thanks, Dick.
Yep.
Anyone else have any comments, questions, or concerns?
Yeah, hi, this is Kevin. Can I make a couple comments?
Sure.
First, shout out to Win and Scott Wishart for helping start our club. I was one of the first presidents for the Eco Rotary Club of Kaka'ako. And our club is kind of interesting because although I'm 65 years old, I think our average age is like low 30s. So that speaks for itself. Second thing is we have 9 women members, young women, may I add, and 7 guys who are young as well. The first thing we did to attract people, and this is with Wynn's help, so I want to give him another shout out, was that we dropped our dues to the bare bones. And then our mission was basically the environment. And so just because of that value with the Rotary structure around it, our membership is pretty weird in the sense that it's very diverse and very young. And so the challenge for us is not diversity, the challenge or age, age and all that stuff. The challenge for us is we got basically 16 firecrackers that have already gone off and will go off again, and is keeping people focused and teaching them Rotary values. I think if you have a really solid mission with a really solid Rotary structure behind it, diversity will follow, because we dropped our dues to bare bones. So almost anyone can join if they believe in the environment. The challenge for us has been not diversity, in the traditional sense. The challenge for us has been getting the membership, the bunch of firecrackers, to understand how important Rotary structure and values are. And the one way that we've been able to accomplish that is to talk to them about the foundation. And when we talk to them about the foundation and the power of organization, like with the foundation, all they do is go, wow. So we're in a good place.
Your membership is growing.
Yes, Win, thanks to you, and kudos again, and thank you.
You, Pili, and you guys have been doing a marvelous job. I've stayed away.
So, Kevin, appreciate those comments. And yeah, one of the things in the education piece from Rotary International is that Rotary's mission, right? We are creating an organization that is more open and inclusive, diversifying to all concerns, builds goodwill, and benefits our communities. So you said exactly what Rotary is trying to do as its mission as it relates to DEI, right? So it's about not only the makeup of the club, it's also about how it builds that goodwill to the community and benefits the community. And in the case of the Eco Rotary Club, it's the concern for environment and things like that. All right, anybody else? Mariko, do you have, yes. Oh, unmute yourself.
Okay, I think we really need to work on the people who resist change, and and to really explain why diversity is important. Why do we all need to embrace diversity, and so that we will become strong clubs and strong as people. And because unless we know why, people will resist changes. And so that's one thing. And then my club is about 70% women. And when I try to recruit one male over 60 years old, he said to me, Mariko, your club is just two female, and I don't fit. And so I had to, that is, we knew that we are just too female oriented, because many women just bring their friends to the membership. And I tried to diversify to include more men, and unsuccessfully for so far. And so I'm just starting to think maybe I should just introduce him to the next club, which is more male oriented. They have more male bonding, drinking or opportunities and things like that. So I said, I'm going to try it. So different clubs have different challenges.
And absolutely, I agree with you that different clubs have different challenges and stuff like that. But it's also bringing it up as a challenge so that other people can perhaps chime in and offer solutions and stuff like that to help with the diversification. So, for example, if we were to have a town hall meeting like this, where you as a club presented a challenge like that, and then the floor was open to people who might give you some options or some ideas, maybe I would raise my hand and say, hey, Mariko, being that it is heavily female and whatnot, do you guys have a program where the women are able to invite their spouses to come and attend meetings, whether it be, a special time and whatnot. And so it kind of feels like you've got a male voice in the club and everything like that. So it's great discussions. And I think that's kind of a way that we could really lead this task force, so that, number one, we create a forum for people to come in to talk about the challenges and how to be more diversified and whatnot, and then let the room or the community, including the task force, help get to some solutions.
So Conrad, if we can talk about the next steps and what we need to do, if we're going to do the training on January 23rd, maybe the next meeting should be maybe in 3 weeks, to kind of talk about what we need to cover at that training.
Sure. I think that's great. I mean, I think a lot of things can be done via email in terms of discussions and stuff like that, ideas to start the flow. And I think having another meeting before the 23rd would be in order, perhaps maybe after the holidays, and go from there. So I didn't have everybody's name that joined on this Zoom and whatnot. So besides the people that have already raised their hand and given me their email expressing their interest to joining, if there's anybody else, then let's just start an email chain so that we can have conversations from now until when we meet, so that ideas can start popping up and we can start building a foundation.
Okay, I can get you the name of everybody who is here, but do you want to set a date now? So like you're like January 5th, Tuesday, 6th, Wednesday, or earlier?
Yeah, January 5th sounds good. Would be a great time to meet.
Okay, Benson, is that okay? I don't think we have anything on the 5th.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
So what I'll do is if I have everyone's email address, the one that have expressed interest in being part of the task force, I will start the chain, and then, if you know anyone, if I forgot someone, please invite them to this conversation, and we'll go from there.
Okay, what time?
5:30 is fine. I think that's what we had for this one.
Okay, I'll set up the Zoom.
There's a chat idea here. Maybe a closed Facebook group would be better for communication. I like that idea as well.
I'm just suggesting that because sometimes, I have 6 email accounts and a lot of emails. but at least if it's in some form of closed group, then it could be housed in one place and people can either put a new idea and people can add their comments or keep one chain going, whatever it may be. But I'm just worried about an endless email chain of people replying, you know, type of thing. Just a suggestion if people are comfortable with it.
I think a combination of both, because I don't know if everyone has Facebook or wants to have Facebook. So I think having different channels would be great. Okay. So Naomi, I think that's that would be the takeaway, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, I'm excited and I look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.